Well, hello again, hiking buddies. So it is March 3rd, I believe, and that is right in the middle of the 2019 bubble, and people are starting off. I'm going crazy watching videos, probably doing too much of it, but it got me excited to get out here and start doing a little hiking myself. So I am actually I'm in a mud hole right now, but I'm at Fox Lake Park here in Titusville, doing a little 5-mile loop through the mud, and crazily enough enjoying every minute of it. So what I wanted to do today was go through, maybe some of the 19 hikers will get this before they leave, or maybe some of them will read it while they're out on the trail, but some of the stupid rookie mistakes that Durwood, Ringo, Lotus, and I made. Oh, that was deep. As we were starting out on the trail. So I'll go ahead and get to that in just a second. Let me get through this mud hole. I'll show it to you. That's a Florida Trail mud hole right there. All right, got through that little mud hole now. So what I'm going to do is just get right into it. Our top 10 stupid rookie mistakes that hopefully we can get some of the 19ers to avoid. And number one is carrying too much food right out of the gate, especially when you first start, because it takes you, I don't know how long, everybody's different, but it took me a couple of weeks before I got into any hiker hunger, maybe a week and a half. But you pack your fears. One of the fears I had was eating too much food, or not having enough food, I mean. And so I carried too much food for probably halfway up the trail, at least until I got to Damascus. And then I started dialing it back and figuring it out. And everybody will figure it out, but just remember when you first start that you are probably packing too much food. And even if you do get low on food, you can easily get your resupply, especially in the beginning, or somebody help you out with a few protein bars or a meal or something like that. So that's number one. Number two, not getting your clothes off immediately, wet and cold, when you get into a shelter or your campsite. When it's cold, and when it's cold. When it's cold out, I am telling you, you can get hypothermic in a hurry. So the first thing you got to do, rather than worry about going down and getting water and doing all the setting up your tent and all that stuff, get your wet clothes off, put some dry ones on, and it'll keep you from jumping into that hypothermia zone. And when you get there, you're in trouble. Found a few people in trouble out there on the trail that let it go too long. So get your clothes off as soon as you can once you get into camp, when it's wet, snowing, and cold. All right, number three, not drinking enough. Even on the cold days, your body is still perspiring, and you have got to keep those fluids up. You'll find out when you don't, you'll start getting lethargic. Your body will start breaking down on you. And the same thing with not eating enough as you get going. If you wake up and, I'm late, I got to get going, and you skip breakfast, I'll tell you what, you're going to pay the price later on down the road. Hopefully you'll recognize that before you get to the point of what they call bonking, which means you're in trouble at that point. Your body is just giving out, and it takes hours to get over that. So not eating and drinking enough. Number three. Number four, starting out the cold day with too many clothes on. All right, you wake up in the morning and it's cold, so you pile on clothes, keep yourself warm, but realize that when you get out and start hiking, hold on, gotta readjust here. When you get out and start hiking, your body temperature is going to go up because heart rate's going to go up, especially if you're going up hills. So, for me, for the longest time, I had to tell myself to start off cold. Start off cold. And if you go start off cold and you're 30 minutes into it and you're still cold, pull over and put some more clothes on by all means. But more times than not, you'll be peeling off clothes when you get to that 10 or 15 minute mark once your heart rate starts booming. All right, number 5, not hanging your pack when you're in the shelter. Now, hanging your bear bag, yeah, that's a definite. But a lot of people think that the mice that are in the shelter are just in there to get food. So, no, I don't have any food in my pack, so I'll just lay it next to me in the shelter. You can wake up in the next morning with a hole in your bag. Because the mice are not just in there to get the shelter. They'll get in there, they'll get your toilet paper, use it for their bedding, your clothes, they'll tear through it. They just get in there. So they have those pack hangers in the shelters, and yes, definitely take advantage of them, or you could be patching up a hole in your pack or in some of your clothing. All right, got another mud hole to get through here, so I'll be right back to you. All right, number 6. Number 6 is a Ringo special. Walking too many miles in the shoes that you have, and I'm not talking about for the day, shoes or boots. Your shoes are only going to last you so many miles. Now, I never was a boot guy, so I'm not too familiar with how long boots are supposed to last or this or that. But I wore the Ultra Lone Peaks, or Ultras, and Ringo was doing the same. And I'll tell you, at least for me, when I got to the 400 mile mark on those shoes, your feet were barking at you. And a lot of times you think that you're just tired and your feet are hurting, but it's actually your shoes, the cushioning in your shoes is broken down. So 5, and if you get 500 miles on those Ultra Lone Peaks, you're going to know it, because your feet are going to tell you. And it's just time to change them out. I would, if I was to do it over again, I would limit my Lone Peaks to 400 miles, just to save the pain. But some other shoes may last longer. I'm not sure. I can only speak for the shoes that I used. And I think Ringo said he got about 600 miles out of his first pair, which I can only imagine how his feet were feeling. So, number 6, that's don't walk your shoes beyond the limit. All right, number 7. This was my screw up. Be liberal once it gets warm with the bug spray. If you get sweaty and bugs are out, and the bugs are out usually when it's hot. I'm going to another mud pit here. And I was actually borrowed some bug spray because the stuff, I didn't have any at the time. But you can either get the DEET free or something that's not as powerful as Deep Woods Off. I sprayed that stuff on my skin, pores were open, and was sick for the rest of the day. Not nauseous sick. Didn't throw up, but felt like I needed to. It was a terrible experience. So when the time comes, either get DEET free bug spray if that works for you, or if you have to use a DEET, make sure you're liberal with it, because if your pores are open, it'll get right into you, and you can be paying the price. All right, number 8, and it's that time of year. So, whoa, that was a big old spider web. Tacking your gloves together. When you pull off your gloves for a video or to get water or whatever you need to do, scratch your nose, pick your nose, whatever it may be, if you're not going to immediately put it back on, make sure that most gloves have hooks where they hook them together, that you hook them together. I can't tell you how many times I dropped one glove, and at least on 2 separate occasions had to turn around and walk back to get the glove that I dropped on the trail somewhere, because I just stuck it in my pocket, or thought I'd stuck it in my pocket, or whatever. But when you pull one glove off, make sure that you secure it somehow, whether you clip it onto your other glove, or whether if you stuff it deep down in a pocket, put it in your pack, or if you take both gloves off, tack them together and put them in your pack, or stow them away, because your hands can really get in trouble out there in the snow and the cold. All right, this was another stupid one of mine, a stupid mistake, not tightening down your cook stove enough. So I used the MSR Pocket Rocket 2, and this screw on top. I didn't use the alcohol stove. You screw it down onto the canister, and I just didn't tighten it down enough. Lit up the flame, kind of walked away from it for a second because it was going okay. Next thing you know, the whole doggone ball of fire is right there because I had not tightened it down enough, and it was seeping out where the stove connects to the canister. And how bad that could have been, I don't know. Luckily, I blew on it, and I blew on it really hard, and it went out. So that was good. My next step was to kick it away from the shelter because I was actually on the picnic table at Muskrat Creek. And so make sure that you tighten down that stove. You don't gotta cinch it down really tight because you could probably tear it up, but tighten it down enough to where it's not gonna leak. And drum roll please, my number one screw up. I'll get to that in just a second. Well, before I get to my number one, just want to kind of show you what I'm working through. This is a pretty neat little area here with all the Spanish moss. And as you can see outside, it's a pretty overcast, rainy day, but Florida can be beautiful. And finally picked a day where it was cool enough to go out and do some hiking. But this is just a pretty neat little area of this trail. I'll show a little bit of that to you. All right, back for my number one. All right, back in the car for number 10. Just got done with about a 5-mile hike, cruising around Fox Lake Park, and had fun. But number 10, it's about pooping. So first thing you want to make sure when you poop is that you are pooping downhill. Because if you poop uphill, then you could end up pooping on your shoes. So make sure you're pooping downhill. The technique that I liked to use when I would poop was grab a stick or a tree limb or a tree trunk and bend back downhill. That worked for me. Somebody else might have something different, but that's what worked for me. But the main and most important thing you do when you do that is to test that stick, that tree limb, or that tree trunk before you put your weight back, because you could end up tumbling downhill and picking sticks and leaves out your butt, because I am living proof that that can happen. All right, that's a great day for me, and I'm wishing those 2019ers all the luck in the world. I know they're out there in the cold and the rain, and that's part of it. So dig your heels in, keep those positive thoughts going, and make it on up the trail. All right, PT out.